All of these things you deal with every day. Should I wear this dress tonight? The press is saying that. But last week they said I'm fat. They said I'm dating. I'm not dating that person. You deal with this stuff all the time. What you have is a very, very personal, emotional relationship with these people, and they are trusting you with their creative grace. Okay? So the dynamic is much more human than everywhere else. Conversely, that was problematic. Easier to steal a client. He doesn't think you're funny. I know you're funny. Why aren't you doing more comedy? Why did he put you in that movie? That's crazy. You could do more than that. So there's a constant element of that. So the one thing about Hollywood in this thing is that it's unlike any other business, okay, in that respect. So that all service businesses are relationship driven. There's nothing more important in your personality in that. So basically, you sign any actor, whether you're a young agent or old agent, they got to believe you're going to take them somewhere that they can go and that you understand them on an emotional level. And the majority of our clients want to make money, but it's secondary. Okay? So that's the first thing. Now, start an agency. 3 things you do need. I think clients, and we talked about Lincoln, as mentioned, you have to have a certain amount of clients, you have a certain amount of brand value relationships. So when Endeavor started, take Ari, he had enough relationships around town, so you do the buyers and moving around. He had enough clients people wanted, and the other people that he started the firms, I wasn't there when he initially started, had enough of that, okay? But you could go around Hollywood right now, and you could find a group of people that have that every day, right? So why is it that they don't start? Why don't more people do it? And I think it's to what Dan was mentioning, okay? It's about personality and about certain people's individual skills. What you do every day, all day long, is you're selling somebody somewhere. You are selling a client to come and be represented by you, and here's why, as I mentioned earlier. You're going to your colleagues and say, you should be here. This is why. This is where we're going. You're going to the studios and saying, hire my client, and here's why. You are constantly in a conversation like that. Okay, all agents are. Okay? So when you go out to start your own agency, you can start a boutique agency. I'm going to represent a handful of writers. I'm going to start just represent actors. I'm going to just do a comedy. But you can't scale it. So to compete against Morris, CAA, ICM, you have to be in all these businesses, and you have to be able to grow it. So therefore you need an infrastructure of the grinders to service it. Because he can sit there and represent Mark Wahlberg, but he can't do it all this. He can't cover every movie in town. He can't cover every development project. He can't call every director. So you need an infrastructure underneath you. And when you first start an agency, no matter where you are, you can't start at the size of the big boys. That leads to the next problem. It's an unbelievably brutal, cutthroat business. There is no more brutal business than Hollywood. And they make jokes about that. It's true. Every day, they try to steal your clients. It's the last time. So when I left CAA to go to Endeavor, 30 people called my clients every day. So that scene you see in Jerry Maguire, which is kind of fun, is true. So where does that go? The only way you can get to a place where you can actually be the person like Ari was or that I got to be is you got to work one of those big places. Okay? So you can't come from the outside and start your own boutique because you don't get the relationships, you don't get the clients to actually have the goods to start the business. So you got to start in one of those places. So now, are you willing to leave? My personal opinion is I think everybody in the world who goes to business, I'd like to be an entrepreneur. I think very few people truly have the guts to be entrepreneurs. And I think the more competitive the business and the harder it is to be an entrepreneur, the less people do it. So we have people constantly saying, no, I should start one agency. At the end of the day, I've been at CAA, been there 8 years, I got a nice little business, I'm making money. I busted my ass, by the way, because there's people I had to get through the training program just to become an agent. So I spent 3 years making no money for the hope that I get promoted. And guess what? I got promoted, thank God. Now I've actually built a business where I've actually now have a handful of clients that actually follow me. And I'm making real money, and they want to pay me more. I'm probably making more money than I ever thought I was going to make. Because a lot of people come to the agency business not really to make money because they want to work in Hollywood, they want to work close to California. So now you're that person. So now you're 6 years, 8 years in. Do I really want to risk it? Do I really want to go outside? By the way, is it me or is it the brand? You look in the mirror, you're not sure, right? And then are you willing to risk it all? Because when you leave, and Ari can tell the story, his basic, the greatest thing was they started Endeavor, he had a client, I won't name who it is, but it was his biggest client. And he said, and there was the days when they were making overall deals in television where they paid a lot of money, 10 years, $10 million over 3 years, guaranteed, and hopefully put some television shows on you. So that's $10 million. $1 million to the agency, I can fund the agency on this one client. That was the basis for the business plan. I can do it. This guy's coming. He's told me he's coming, right? He didn't come. Sorry, this guy got $25,000 in the bank. Was your right brain in?
No, but
Okay.
she was close.
So the point of it is, so when you leave, and I know a very personal decision that I had was, what if I lose everybody? At that point, I was doing really well. I was making a lot of money, I had a big profile, had a lot of clients. It was really, life had gotten easy. And for me, it was personally like, if I lose everything, it'll be okay. Because staying was the risk for me. That does not exist typically. And so what happens is, the personalities and the ability to risk all of it after you put 10 years in, and the chances of failure are high, is very, very hard. So I think part of this, you can put it up on the board, why this, barriers to entry is 10%. It's really about that. And you look at the Mike Ovitz or Lou Washington, and others, they're big personalities who have said they wanted to bet on themselves, and truly bet on themselves. And I think Hollywod asked you to pay a higher price or a higher bar to be willing to go there. And I think that's something that is inherent in this, and so much of that is the relationships of selling your dream, your vision, is kind of critical to your clients in return. So that's like I said, the first thing, which is I just want to kind of say about like that's my personal opinion why it's so hard and how I would serve talent agency.
Yeah, there's no pricing, as you mentioned. There's no pricing issue. And you know, we got really lucky in timing when we started. The 6 months after we started, Mike Ovitz left, and guys from William Morris left, the senior manager. And at the time, a new generation of agents wanted to come into the business, and they wanted to be owner-operated. And we picked one sector. You were somewhat right. We picked one sector to be stars television, because that's where, when you look at the business, our specific business, that's where the greatest upside economically is. And we got successful really quickly because we were actually very good in that area. It then enabled us, like free agency in baseball, to go out and buy people and to sell the dream. And then when we got enough kind of brand recognition by bringing people in, right, and that we were the hot upstart, we kept on working that. We worked our brand, we worked our client's brand, and we got incredible people to come with us. It kind of enabled the ball to start rolling down the hill a little bit. And kind of kept on turning that. And then it came to strategy. You know, we believe, 15 years, we believe about 10 years ago, 9 years ago, that distribution was going to be a commodity and content was going to be king. And we believed that premise for a while. That's why we started that company, MRC, on that premise, actually, from two guys that came out of Harvard. And we've now taken that through, and we risked everything as it relates to our brand, because we actually believe there's incredible agents out there, incredible business over there, but William Morris at the time had lost its culture. And we believed, based on what Libby said, in our negotiation, I think you were right, that if we control, and we came actually to Harvard and met with Professor Nitton, that when we did an analysis of the business, there were two companies that we were strategizing about what to do, that if we controlled, in conjunction with the other kind of the operations, that then we could affect culture, and then we could affect kind of the economic outcome. And we believe it's going in the right way. We believe we're creating an economic incentive underneath for top management, because I think that goes with culture, that enables everybody to row in the same direction, to work with each other, because there's a huge aspect of that. You have to go, as, you have to talk to other people, because, this is a business about ideas, whether it be an actor has an idea, director has an idea, writer has an idea, a musician has an idea, and you have to have enough people to say, how do you monetize that idea? And you have to have, everybody's got to be willing to roll in the same direction. ICM was eat as you kill. Right? William Morris was a little bit like that, right? CAA, Mike always had created a culture of community, right? And, the upside down pyramid was not his strategy. He was the other side, where everybody benefited, and people kind of represented big people at the low end. Right? And that created a great community. And then I think, I don't know, I think it was Alex or somebody talked about, we created other businesses on the side.